Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, or if you haven't been to my channel before, my name is Rachel Erst. Today's video is pretty relaxed, pretty chilled out. We're just going to be sitting down having a talk. I have no idea how long I'm going to blabber on for. Hopefully my camera doesn't overheat in the time that I sit here with all my lights. I'm just going to go ahead and put like a blanket trigger warning on this video because for some reason whenever I do like videos on weight loss and all that kind of thing, people ask me to trigger warning it. It's a weight loss video. It's to do with hormones. I'm going to be talking about, like mental health and all of that sort of thing as well. So if you're sensitive to those sort of topics, then I wouldn't recommend watching this video. I haven't exactly planned anything that I'm going to say. I mean, I've got some little dot points listed down, but I haven't scripted anything, and I am so tired, so hopefully this video comes across somewhat put together, and I hope my words are concise and make sense to you guys. So for ages I had been struggling with my hormones. I knew something wasn't right, but I didn't know what it was. I'll talk about this in depth in a second, but I just want to tell you guys that I found out that I have PCOS, which is polycystic ovarian syndrome. If you've never heard of that before or you don't know what it is, PCOS is a hormonal condition that affects a lot of women. A lot of women will never find out they have it, and the ones that do, everyone experiences different symptoms. That's why it's called a syndrome. It doesn't have a specific set of things that happen to every single person. There's different things that different people will experience. Women with PCOS often have high levels of androgens, which is considered the male hormone, like testosterone, but it's free testosterone that we have excess of. And females do have testosterone, in case you weren't aware. We're just meant to have a lower amount than males. Some symptoms of PCOS include no period or very irregular periods. You could have facial hair, some women get that. Some women are more prone to acne. There can be a lot of pelvic pain, especially if you are getting cysts on your ovaries, and you can have a really hard time when it comes to losing weight. Usually if people have PCOS, they also have too much insulin. Insulin is a growth hormone in the body, so it means that your body thinks that it needs to retain and hold on to extra weight and that you should be heavier than you're really meant to be, if that makes sense. It's kind of tricking your body into thinking what weight it should be. So for me, the symptoms that I had were very irregular moods. Like a while ago I was having really bad mood swings. I would have almost no period, like 3 or 4 times a year, maybe at most. Every now and again my skin would break out into acne like here, and it's just clearing up from a breakout that I had not long ago. And I've had acne 3 times in my life. The first time it went away after a couple of months because I started taking vitamin A, which I have a whole video about. The second time I thought it was actually just an allergic reaction to a whole bunch of stuff that I had been taking, because that broke out, like it dried out my skin completely and then it broke out from there. So I thought, well, maybe that's related back to that. But just a couple of months ago my skin started breaking out again, all along in that hormonal area, and I was like, nothing has triggered this. I haven't done anything different. So I was like, okay, well that is a huge warning sign for me that there is something definitely off in my body. I first noticed that my hormones were imbalanced when I originally lost a lot of weight, but then I noticed that my body was storing it in very funny areas. So my arms don't slim down at all, and my thighs and my hips have always stayed quite large, which I don't mind. I mean, I do appreciate that figure, but it was very strange for me that no matter how hard I trained, it would never just like fully go away from that area. And when I do put on weight, it goes even more so, like especially my arms, they start to look very like fluidy more than anything else. So I went to naturopaths and doctors and all that sort of thing, and they did blood tests and tested my hormones, and my estrogen levels appeared to be a bit higher. So they were like, this is just an estrogen dominance thing, blah 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 blah. Traditionally, to get rid of estrogen dominance, you have to do a cleanse to get rid of, well, I call it a cleanse, but there's like a full protocol that you have to do to get rid of the excess estrogen because it stores in your fat cells. And for example, fat cells, they like to share. So if one fat cell has a lot of estrogen in it, the one next to it will start to do that as well, and it just carries on and on and on. When you have a lot of estrogen in your fat cells, your body has a hard time metabolizing and shrinking those fat cells back down. So usually if you are high in estrogen, you have to do that protocol, remove the excess estrogen from your body, and then your body can start to properly metabolize that fat. For me, none of that sort of thing really worked, and I was like, well, I don't know what the problem is. Like I'm not overweight or anything like that, but I train twice a day, 6 days a week. I'll put up some little clips of that I took a couple of weeks ago now. Like as soon as I found out that I have PCOS, I was just like, okay, well let's consider this my before I adjust my diet and all that sort of stuff. My doctor said I am very lucky that I was training as much as I am because it means that it wasn't getting out of control. Exercise and good diet are really, really beneficial to anyone who does have a hormone disorder. And so for someone who trains twice a day, I don't exactly look like an athlete. Like, I guess from the side I'm slim, but I'm not muscular, and I do want to have that extra muscle definition. I want to show how much work I put in. And yeah, I guess that is a bit of a vanity thing. So I'm just going to quickly flash back to about February, April. I started to get a lot of pain in my pelvic region, just consistent pain. And when it was really bad, it felt like someone had a hot knife just stuck in my stomach, and it was so strange. And so I went and saw another doctor because the last doctor I had wasn't figuring anything out. So I went to a female doctor, and I was telling her about the pain, and she thought that perhaps I had endometriosis. We did some tests for that, and I didn't have endometriosis, so I was still getting the pain, and I was like to her, no, this pain is all the time and I'm not getting a period. And I had to end up doing a lot of research myself, and then I was like, I think it's PCOS, and I went and spoke to a new naturopath, and she agreed with me that yes, it's probably PCOS. On top of that, I was having a lot of issues whenever I ate foods with gluten in them. I was getting internal bleeding, even more stomach pain, and everything was just really inflamed, and I was so terribly tired all of the time. This got particularly bad just before and during my Bali trip because I didn't realize it, but I was eating more carbohydrates because I had been training more, particularly stuff like pasta, rice, you know, any of that sort of thing, oats especially, and my body did not deal with that very well. I thought I was doing the right thing because I was incorporating it as part of a healthy diet, but it was really upsetting my body. And it turns out when I do have, you know, a lot of carbohydrates, the water retention is just crazy, and the bloating is just crazy as well. Like, my waist is normally quite trim, but it was looking like puffy, and my arms especially, like, as I said, they're always that area that goes crazy on me. So after Bali, I went to Fashion Week, and that's when I had stopped eating gluten by then because we'd figured out that was obviously upsetting my stomach and not good for me at all. And during my trip to Sydney, I was still getting a lot of that stomach pain, and that's when my skin started to break out a little bit. So I came back and I saw my facialist, and she's like, yep, that's definitely hormonal acne. Let's try and get this under control before it goes insane. By the way, if you're from Brisbane, my facialist is Natalie at Kindred Toxin Free Facials. I'll try and pop that in the description box. But I went to see her, and she's amazing, and she was helping me keep this under control. Like, it would be so crazy right now if I didn't have her helping me out. So I cut the gluten out, and obviously my carbohydrate intake lowered a little bit, and my stomach wasn't hurting as much anymore. And I thought, oh, okay, well, I guess things are settling down. Like, I thought maybe it was just gluten that was upsetting my body. Maybe I've been gluten intolerant for a long time, you know, that kind of thing. But then the skin started to get worse again, and as soon as I got back from Fashion Week, which is in May, that's when I started training twice a day, 6 days a week. And I was like, yes, let's get like ripped, let's, you know, get some muscle definition back now, like now that I know what's wrong with my body. Months went by, in August now, and months went by and my body didn't really change all that much. Like, I look fitter than I did then, but it was really strange because I was like, why is my body not really changing? And so I was speaking to my naturopath, and she was like, here, let's try like altering your diet a little bit this way. And so I did that, and I started gaining little bits of weight, and it was just like a little bit at a time. Like, every week I'd be going up like 200 or 300 grams, but it was just creeping up and up and up and up. And I was like, this is really strange, because the diet that I was following is typically like the diet that Bo and I would recommend for anyone who is of that mesomorphic body type. So for females, that's that hourglass figure. Usually this kind of diet would work quite well, where it's an even ratio, macronutrient ratio of proteins, carbohydrates, and fat. However, when I started doing that, that's when my body started holding on extra fluid, and I was starting to feel a little bit sluggish again, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? And I went from being 64 kilos, so by the way, I am 5'8", so like 172 something centimeters, I think. So I'm not tiny, like I'm not tall, but I'm not tiny either. I went from 64 kilos up to 69 kilos within like a month, 2 months? 2 months probably. And I'd have to check, but I believe it's 2 months. And I was like, this is bad, like how am I putting on this much weight so quickly? And so I was like, clearly there is another issue here, like I've never had weight gain like this before. And so I decided to look into it more and do like a ton of research on my own, and PCOS is the conclusion that I came to, went to see a doctor, did a bunch of tests, and she's like, yeah, that's what you've got. And it was pretty upsetting. Like, I cried about it because it sucks. Like, there's more to it than just the symptoms, of course, but it's the way that you have to handle it. My body cannot process carbohydrates properly. It can't do it. I'm insulin resistant. So my whole philosophy of being able to be balanced and have those cheat meals, you know, like 2 times a week where you just eat kind of whatever you want. I can't eat whatever I want. I still have to have these new guidelines in place, even when it comes to my meal where I'm more relaxed. And it sucks so much to put yourself out there. Like, originally my Instagram kind of started growing when I had my before and after photos, and people started following me, and they felt inspired by my changes and my fitness and that sort of thing. And then we, you know, of course started to blog in the gym, and so I've become known as like a fitness kind of person. And then for people to go, oh, but your arms are so fat, clearly your waist is Photoshop. And I'm like, no, that's how it looks. Or for people to come across and say that you don't look fit or you don't have any muscle, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, like, I am fighting literally every fiber of my body just to look the way that I do. And it is upsetting. Like, I try my hardest. I know that's never going to be good enough for everybody, but people are really cruel and really insensitive. And I guess you can never really know what someone's going through, and so people can only judge at face value. And so if I upload a photo of myself and then they're like, oh, your body's hardly changed in between those times, I'm like, well, maybe not to you, but for me, I have to fight really hard. So anyway, what I decided to do, because it's such a difficult thing, and I'm so happy that I know a lot about health and fitness, and I'm able to just go, right, well, this is what I need to do, because I made the changes straight away. I dropped 4 kilos within like 2.5 weeks, and I was like, okay, cool, like, we're back to where we were before, but now I have to continue along this path, and it is really hard, and it is stressful, because food for me is something that I really enjoy. Like, I love creating it, photographing it, you know, all of that sort of stuff. And of course I'm still going to make recipes that suit other people's diets, but I might not be able to eat everything that I show in my recipe videos. So if you see a recipe video, don't automatically think that I'm going to eat that, because a lot of the time I might not be able to now. So for years now I've tried to avoid, you know, processed sugars and that sort of thing as much as possible. They're just not that great for your body. We don't really eat much dairy in this house at all, because with Beau's fibromyalgia, he finds that being dairy-free really helps ease his fibro symptoms. So we just don't have dairy in this house often, unless I'm, you know, filming something that has like Greek yogurt or something like that. I'm of course gluten-free, and that has been helping Beau out again with his fibro. Chronic conditions don't deal very well with inflammatory foods. But the shitty part of what I have to eat is the absolute lack of carbs. So at the moment, just because I'm trying to get my body to go back to normal? Is there a normal for PCOS? I'm trying to repair my body, so to do that I have to take that extra step and that extra mile and be, you know, better more often, and not just go and be along the average. If I want my body to really be in its optimum, I have to take things to the next level. So of course, like, I'm doing this with the guidance of a doctor and of a naturopath, and I am studying nutrition as well, so I have some idea what is happening. And obviously this has been working. Like, I've been able to lose the weight, my skin is clearing up again and everything like that, and I'm having to have a high protein and high fat diet. There's also a lot of supplements that I've implemented into my regime that are different than before. Before I was, of course, you know, taking the vitamins that I needed to take, anything that I knew I was deficient in, but now there's like a whole list of other things that I have to take as well. Oh, and I forgot to mention, like, one of the tests that I got done, because I don't know why, but no other doctor, when testing my hormones, had tested my free testosterone. They'd all tested for my stored testosterone levels, not the free testosterone. The free testosterone is the one that's going to give you that really big indication as to whether you have PCOS or not if you're a female. So basically what I want to do is I want to put together a vlog series, and I'm thinking of uploading it around the same time every month, and just, it's not going to be like a pretty vlog. Like, I love to make pretty videos that, you know, are well put together and have the nice music and everything is just beautiful and flows. These won't be like that. These, I hope that the content in them will make up for the fact that they're not going to be as pretty as my other videos. They're going to be more about information, like the supplements that I use, the food that I'm eating at that time, what's working for me, what's not working for me, exercises that help, like anything that I can find that helps, I want to put it in this vlog series. Test results of things that I get done, like, I don't care. Like, I know it's super personal, and I'm an extremely private person. I know I do have like an online social profile and everything, but you may notice that I don't share a ton of personal stuff about myself. This series is probably going to be the hardest thing for me to make because I do have to open up a little bit and let you guys in a bit more, but I feel like I can help. If I can help more people, I kind of don't give a shit about me feeling anxious about people critiquing me. I already get people judging me enough on my lifestyle or what I do or what I don't do, so I kind of don't care anymore. Like, I feel that I'm fortunate enough to know as much as I know about hormones and health and diet and exercise and all of that sort of stuff, and I remember how confusing it was trying to lose weight and get fit before I knew any of that stuff. Like, back when I first started training, it was so confusing, and then to throw a metabolic disorder in on that would be insane if I didn't have the amount of knowledge that I have now. So I want to share what I know. And in the video series, I'm going to be documenting, of course, like my physical changes. I mean, I can tell you about internal pain and all that sort of stuff, but my measure of pain might be different to your measure of pain, and it's not something that's easily trackable. Whereas sharing my results, although that just seems like an exercise in vanity, that's probably going to be the easiest way to do it. I mean, yeah, it would be great if my body could be normal, but at least I know what's going on now, and it really, really sucks. But, you know, when you know, it's better. And if you even have an inkling, like a tiny little thing, you know, you think something could be wrong, go and get it tested. From my personal experience, my periods have always been weird. Like, ever since I started getting them when I was 15, and I still only ever got them like 3 or 4 times a year. Doctors would try and put me on the pill to even it out. Like, they obviously had no idea that I actually have PCOS. They just thought I could go on a normal pill just to even it out, and the pill always made me suicidal, so every single one I've tried has done that, and my current doctor is trying to get me to go on it just to help regulate myself out, like a different one, but I'm terrified because I know what that's done before. So it is still like a scary time for me. I'm glad that I've got the diet part figured out, but it's just everything else that I've got to go through now. More tests, more of this, more of that, gotta make sure I don't have diabetes as well, all that sort of stuff. But feel free to join me on this journey. I'm going to be trying to document as much of it as I can, like tests that are worth getting done, you know, the food that I eat, all that stuff. I've gone over all that sort of stuff anyway already. I'm hoping that I haven't missed anything. Like, I am pretty tired from my training session this morning, so I'm feeling a little bit dopey right now. I definitely need some more food. But I'm going to be going more in depth with these vlogs. I've already started some vlog footage, some cool little things that I bought just to help me, you know, track what my body's doing and all that kind of thing. But I hope all you guys are doing really well. Thank you for staying all the way to the end of this video if you did. If you are new and you do want to follow along on my journey, don't forget to hit subscribe, and I'll catch all you guys next time. Bye!